We continue as we began once again our 11th Sunday today in ordinary time. So we continue to look for God just in ordinary things. First of all, extraordinary would be the Eucharist, but ordinary things like mountains and hills and valleys and streams and people, spouses and children. God is found in an infinite number of places and in things. Today, we find God in forgiveness and in mercy. Our God is a forgiving God. He pours out His mercy. I think back about 15, 16 years ago, I met a young man who was about 24, 25 years old, and I got to know him. I ran into him very frequently. And this young man had been married. He's married. He has had 3 children now. He has a very strong work ethic. He is a hard worker. He does anything for everybody. He goes out of his way to help people. He is very kind. You know, I can't think of too many things that's negative about this young man. He is now approaching 40, not quite yet. He ran into a problem when he was about 30. When he was 30, he had one of those assessments where you send in when you work at a job and they check your background. It's a background check. And it showed up that he had a felony. He thought that was all. He didn't even realize that went on the books. You see, when he was 18 and a half to 19 years old, him and another fella, a friend of his, probably not a good friend because he would take this young man in the wrong direction all the time. This guy was in trouble all the time, this other fella. But anyway, this nice spring March morning, the two of them went to a park somewhere, and under an awning or under a shelter house or something, they removed a table and a cooker, some type of a cooker, and they took it outside of the park across the road, and they sat down on the table and chatted, and they did some cooking and just had a little picnic. They didn't put it back, and they left. The police were out after this other fellow anyway, so it was a good opportunity for them to really run him through the coals. And unfortunately, this other young man that I know very well, went through the coals with him. The friend actually went into the police department and said what he had done. But apparently that didn't make any difference for this young man. And today, he continues to work, but not in his regular place of employment anymore. And it's hard for him to get a job since he has that felony. But he continues to sell on eBay. He can take anything and make $1 off of it pretty easily. He has that knack. And then he works for a little bit of everybody, doing all kinds of things with his vast array of talents. You know, this young man was never pardoned. God is not like that. Our God is a forgiving God. Our God is a merciful God. You know, not only with Jason did things like this happen. If we take a look at David, Jason was sorry. And now, as we heard in the first reading, David was sorry. He was sorry for all the conniving, the secret things that he was doing, the sin that he was living in, the lust that he had for a beautiful married woman, and the taking of or working it out that this woman's husband would be killed in a war. David then, after his sorrow and was forgiven through the Lord from Nathan the prophet, he became King David, the little guy with the slingshot that fell into sin, and now King David. Our God is a forgiving God. He pours out his mercy upon us. The sinful lady who washed Jesus' feet with her tears of sorrow, her love showed her faith, and Jesus forgave her all of her sins, merciful to her. And there are so many others, St. Paul, St. Ignatius, Mary Magdalene. There's so many others from other times. And now we look at ourselves. Take a look at yourself. What is your sinful story? The sin that you dusted under the carpet, or the one that you ignored for a long time, or didn't want to have anything to do with it and just kind of buried it and let it go without any sorrow or any pardoning or any confession. Then you did decide, possibly at one time, to have it forgiven. You are sorry. You confessed it. You affirmed not to do it again. And our Lord God forgave you. Our God is a forgiving God. He pours out his mercy. We are called also in this year of mercy to be forgiving, to be merciful. And our Lord has showed us how. We are to forgive those who trespass against us. We are to forgive ourselves for the things that we don't want to let go of, because our Lord God is that merciful God, that forgiving God. And we too are to be like that with others, with our spouses and with all those that we run into. And we are to show mercy. And we are to do works, kind works of love, just as a sinful woman. Today, in this ordinary day, in this ordinary time, in this year of mercy, we are called to find God in forgiveness. Forgiveness of others, forgiveness of ourselves, and the forgiveness that our good God gives to us. And we are also to find this mercy. Today is a good day. Today is a good day to find this forgiving God. Our God pours out his mercy.